random number table, the basics. Okay, so let's say I want a simple random sample, completely random, of 50 of the 816 students who live in a dorm on campus. Okay, so I'm going to use a random number table, which in this case, I've just given you a line of the random number table. Normally it is, yes, a complete table of completely random numbers. Okay, so here's my table, or the portion of the table we're going to use. And I am going to label my students in alphabetical order. Okay, so I am taking into account the randomness from the table. It's okay that my students are in alphabetical order because they will be chosen randomly. I want you to think for just a second about why I did not label the students from 1 to 816. Okay, keeping in mind that if we have a simple random sample, everyone has to have an equally likely chance of being chosen. The answer here, the thing we want to talk about is, well, we need 3 digits. We want to get to the 816 students, so we're going to need 3 digits. If I labeled one student just the number 1, you would have a hard time differentiating between a 1 and a complete number, 816, okay? So we want them to all be equally likely to be chosen. I'm going to see the number 1 on here far more often than I'm going to see the number 816 together. Okay, does that make sense? So, the number 1 itself here shows up 1, 2, 3, 4 times, but I don't see on in here anywhere the actual number 816. So the question we need to answer is, who are going to be the first 3 students that my sample includes? Since I'm looking at 3 digits here, I'm going to consider each group of 3 digits. So my first person that I would choose would be person 955. 955 is outside of my sample. I only go up to 816, so that person is ignored. The gap here is just to help you keep track. You could consider the person 929 next. Okay, the gap again is just to help you keep track. They're in usually groups of 5. The next person is person 400. Aha! Now I've reached something that's inside my group of 816. 400 falls between 0 and 816. So I would choose the person 400 to be in my sample. I usually underline that person so that I know that person's been chosen, and I've ignored the other ones. Okay. The next 3 digits are 769. That is, again, in my range up to 816. So person number 769 would be chosen. Aha, let's see what happens here. I see 769 again, okay? Doesn't happen too often. Actually, I forced it this way so that that number would show up twice just so we could talk about it. But it is possible, since the numbers are completely random, that you run into somebody that you've seen before. We will ignore this person. We have already seen this person. So I'm going to underline the one I chose. The next one I am ignoring because I'm not choosing the same person twice to be in my sample. The next person that's on there is person 335. So I will choose 335 next to be in my sample. And those are the first 3 students that my sample includes. That's all you have to do for example 1. In example 2, we're more thinking of a process. Okay, so let's say that Fishers High School wants to select a simple random sample that includes 25 seniors and 20 juniors. Okay, if you think about it, we're talking about assessing their attitudes on flex periods. Maybe the school thinks that juniors and seniors have different opinions about flex period, since seniors are currently taking flex periods and juniors are thinking about taking flex periods the next year. So they want to make sure that they have a good representative group of 25 seniors and 20 juniors. We need to be very specific, okay? Let's see, how could we assign digits and maybe how the selection process will occur. First thing we might want to know is, how many seniors and how many juniors do we even have? Because here we were told that there are 816 students who live in a dorm. For the purposes of today, just to make things easy, let's say that there are 500 seniors and 400 juniors. Okay, just to make things a little bit easier. So let's think about assigning the digits. So to the seniors, I can follow a similar process that we followed up here, and I am going to assign them the numbers 001 to 500. When I'm assigning the juniors their digits, I can't start at 001 because that number will already have been chosen. So I need to start at somewhere new. And I need to keep the same number of digits. So I'm going to start my juniors at 501. There would be 900 total students, so I'm going to take the juniors up to 900. Okay, we could label them in ABC order. Randomness is achieved with our random number table. It is truly a random number table. The selection process, I don't want to focus on that so much just because we're still kind of learning about random number tables. We will talk about how you can be very specific, but you can think, how would we might do this is we might look at a line of the random number table and we would look for groups of 3 numbers until we reached our sample. Okay. The other thing that you have to keep in mind, after you reach 25 seniors, you're done. You would stop choosing seniors. And once you would reach your 20 juniors, you're done. You would stop choosing juniors to be in your sample. Okay. If I just wanted a simple random sample of 45 students, and I didn't care about the number of juniors or the number of seniors, I could label all students. And then in this case, let's just say we're limiting it just to juniors and seniors. So I would take all students, we'll label them 001 to 900 in ABC order. And then in this case, you wouldn't have to stop after you reach 25 seniors, and you wouldn't have to stop after you reach 20 juniors. You would just stop after you reached 45 people. We will look more in depth at random number tables in class, and I will show you a full random number table. This is just a brief introduction on how it works.